All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Gediminas, and today's topic is 12 rules for life based on Jordan Peterson's book with the same name, 12 Rules for Life. Now, some of you may have read the book, some of you may have heard of the book, some of you may have heard of Jordan Peterson, right? He's quite famous nowadays on social media, sharing his tips, sharing his advice. So I wanted to share with you those 12 tips, and maybe you will find them useful, relatable, and especially in your business too. Because when I was listening to this book, because I was listening to an audiobook, not only I saw this useful for my personal life, but I saw this useful for my business too. So, number one rule, the first rule is stand up straight with your shoulders back. And of course, this is not only talking about your physical posture, right? How straight your back is, etc. But actually adopt a posture of confidence. It affects how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself, reflecting the importance of dominance, hierarchies, and biological signaling. So the way you act, that's the way how the world will respond to you. So if you are constantly repeating that, oh, I'm not good enough, they're not gonna like me, it's not gonna work out, I won't be successful, then that's what you're gonna create in your life, right? They say outer world is a reflection of the inner world. But if you say, I will do this, I will do whatever it takes, I will learn what I need to learn, then you will radiate this confidence. And when you will radiate this confidence, people will easier buy from you, people will join your team, people will listen to you more, and they will want to follow you too. Rule number two is treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. And what this rule says is that people often care for others better than themselves. Peterson urges readers to extend that same care inward. Sometimes we criticize ourselves, we say horrible things about ourselves. We sometimes say, oh yeah, I'm such a clumsy person, I'm such a stupid person, I'm such a unsuccessful, I'm such a loser, etc. Right? So that's the worst thing you can do, this negative inner dialogue. So they say that if there's no enemy inside, the enemies outside can't hurt you. So you really, really need to work on that inner dialogue, and again, say positive things about yourself, encourage yourself, even if you don't yet have the results you want or you don't live the life of your dreams. If whatever you say, that's what's going to keep manifesting in your life. So if you keep criticizing yourself, then you'll find more ways to criticize yourself, more reasons to criticize yourself. But if you encourage yourself and look at what you do right, then of course you'll find more things that you do right. Rule number three is make friends with people who want the best for you. Surround yourself with individuals who support your growth and well being, not those who drag you down. So, they say you can't choose your family, and that's understandable, right? But we can choose the people that we spend time with and people that we listen to. There's this illustration about crabs in the bucket. They say, when they throw crabs in the bucket, you don't have to put the lid on, because as soon as one crab tries to go out, the others pull it down back inside the bucket. People are not that different. Sometimes if you have bad people surrounding you, they will keep pulling you down, right? So you want to make sure that you start associating and spending time with people who will encourage you, people who will inspire you, people who also are aiming at goals, aiming at improving their life, etc. Because with those types of people, of course, you will be able to reach your success much faster. And in network marketing, that's ideal example. Spend more time with your team, spend more time with the leaders, spend more time at the events, live events and online events, because that will raise you up. That will raise you up, instead of pulling you down. Number four, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not who someone else is today. Focus on personal improvement rather than envy or social comparison. They say comparison is the thief of joy. And, the worst thing, and it's so unfair as well, because, very often you're comparing your episode 3 of your life with somebody's episode 25, and that's just simply unfair, because that person worked longer, they made more mistakes, they've got more experience, that's why they're getting better results. So you should never compare yourself to other people. However, you should compare yourself to your earlier version. So are you better today than you were yesterday? Are you better this week than you were last week? Are you better this month than you were last month? Because so many people live the same year 75 times and call it a life. There's this saying that some people die at age 25 and they wait another 50 years for somebody to bury them. Meaning basically that they just keep repeating the same mistakes, the same habits, the same life over and over again, and it never changes. They never reach their goals, they never improve their life, etc. Number 5, don't let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. Ooh, this one is a bit controversial, right? So set clear boundaries and discipline to foster responsible and socially accepted behavior in children. And we probably all have seen parents with children who are not socially acceptable behavior, right? And we've all seen children who are well behaved, right? And of course, it has a lot to do with parenting. There are other factors too, but of course, it has a lot to do with parenting, right? But more importantly than that, when I was listening to this, I was like straight away thinking of my team, about network marketing team. Isn't the same rule applies? We shouldn't let our team members do anything that will make us dislike them. We should set clear boundaries and discipline to foster responsible and socially acceptable behavior in our team. Because if you let the bad behavior to foster, then guess what? It becomes a chaos. It becomes really bad, environment in your team. So exactly the same way how we should raise our children, exactly the same way we should responsibly develop our team members. Number 6, set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Take responsibility for your own life and problems before attempting to reform external systems. And in the Bible, there is this line where it says, why are you noticing, a small speck in your brother's eye when you have a log in yours? And how often we are quick to judge other people, we're quick to criticize other people, we're quick to see the mistakes other people make, etc., but not so quick to notice ourselves. And again, what you see in others is very often a reflection of you. So if you're looking around and criticizing everybody around, the chances are you're only noticing things that are inside of you. And the reason why it annoys you seeing it in other people, because it's inside of you too, right? So work on yourself instead of trying to change the world. Rita reminded me yesterday of this quote where it says, millions of kids are growing up with intention to change the world, and millions of parents would wish that they would start from cleaning their own room first. Right? So always look at yourself first before criticizing others. Number 7, pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. Meaning comes from sacrifice, responsibility, and long-term purpose rather than quick rewards. And I think Bob Marley said, if it's easy to get, it's not going to be meaningful, and if it's going to be meaningful, then it's not going to be easy to get. So many people, we especially in business, we say that so many people live all of their life broke, trying to get rich quick, because they never stick to one thing long enough to create a meaningful result. They keep jumping and jumping and jumping. They keep moving from one thing to another, and they never create anything meaningful anywhere because they keep expecting a quick result. They keep looking for easy way. They keep looking for a shortcut without realizing that the shortcut is to roll your sleeves up and just work at it until you get the result. Number 8, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. I love this one when I heard it. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Avoid deception. Honesty brings coherence to your life and strengthens your character. And I always talk about this, about building your business ethically, friendly, with morals, with values, right? So, I love the saying, bad is bad even if everyone is doing it, and good is good even if nobody's doing it. the saying that, oh, that leader does it and that leader does it, so I can do it, is a bad philosophy. Just because other people do bad things, it doesn't justify you to do bad things too. You be different. You be good. You be, building your business and building your life, ethically and morally. Number 9, assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't. Practice humility and listen actively. Others can teach you valuable lessons. I think Buddha said, when you talk, you're only repeating what you already know. But when you listen, you can learn something new. And I've learned over the years, 15 years now, and I've been in network marketing, I've learned that every person I meet can teach me something. I can learn something from every person I meet. And even people who attend my courses, and even people who buy my consultations, or join my mentorship programs, and I am mentoring them, I'm at the same time learning from them. I'm at the same time finding something, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I never realized that, right? So, you can never know everything, and you should never be there's this saying, don't get high on your own supply, and sometimes as leaders we do, right? Where we get so, high up, we get so elevated that, we're not touching the ground anymore, because we are just levitating in the air because our heads are inflated so much, So come down to earth and always learn and learn and learn from other people. Number 10, be precise in your speech. Clarity helps confront problems directly rather than allowing them to grow in ambiguity. And one of my mentors, Mark J, says that words are the highest form of architecture. Words are the highest form of architecture. So the more precise you are in your language, when you're talking to other people, when you writing your posts, when you're doing your videos, when you're writing your goals and your vision for your life, the more precise you are, the better results you can expect, right? And the more confusing you are, the more you will be confused and other people will be confused. But again, that's something that we learn. That's something that we learn through practice. Nobody was born, with 5 books on communication skills in their head. This is something you spend time developing and learning to get better and better at it. Number 11, do not bother children when they're skateboarding. Let people, especially boys, take risks and develop resilience. It's essential for growth. And me having 2 daughters myself, I know how protective we are of the children, and how sometimes we wanna sort of make them safe and protect them from all the problems, etc. And that's something, a difficult job. But again, when I read this rule or listened to this rule, straight away I thought about building a team, building a business. Again, how often we take the person under our wing and we think we're doing nice thing for them by doing everything for them, by solving all of their problems, by answering all of the questions, by basically doing the business for them, instead of letting them to become independent, instead of letting them to make the mistakes they need to make in order to learn their lessons. And this nice thing, even there's an acronym. NICE stands for nothing inside me cares enough. So when you're being nice to your team members and doing everything for them, you're basically saying, I don't care about you becoming an independent leader, right? And basically, sometimes we make our team members disabled, right? Not in the real sense of word, but disabled in terms of not being able to build a business by themselves because we always did everything for them and didn't let them to become independent leaders. And then the last rule, number 12, is pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. What does that mean? Find moments of beauty and peace in the midst of suffering and chaos. I don't care how bad your day was, how horrible your week was, or how awful your month was. Well, I care, but there's always something nice. There's always something to be grateful for. And sometimes people, when they are in a bad place, they'll say, oh, there's nothing to be grateful for in my life. Really? Did you wake up this morning? That's something to be grateful for. Did you open the fridge and found some food in it? That's something to be grateful for. In, in my childhood, quite often I used to open the fridge and there was nothing to eat. You know, did you wake up with the roof over your head? That's something to be grateful for because there's many homeless people. Did you wake up and you're healthy? You can stand up, you can walk around, you see, you hear. Amazing. Because so many people don't have those simple blessings, right? So there's something to be grateful for all the time. And same in business. Sometimes business doesn't go the way we want it. Sometimes our level goes down. Sometimes our income goes down. Sometimes we have challenges and problems, etc. And it's so easy just to say, oh, everything is bad. Everything is bad with my business. Really? You have a company that you didn't have to find and didn't have to finance. You have a product that you didn't have to invent, that somebody else invented for you. You have internet that you can use that you didn't have to invent. You have social media that you can use to build your business that you didn't have to invest and doesn't even cost you a penny, right? How many blessings you used today in your life, right? There's always something. So stop and smell the roses. Stop for a moment and be grateful, and maybe start a gratitude diary or something like that, where you can every day write a couple of things you're grateful for, maybe just in your phone or whatever, or maybe just stop for a moment and think about, every night when I lay down in my bed, I always thank God. I always thank God for another amazing day, for all the things that happened on that day. So these are the 12 rules that Jordan Peterson shares in his book, 12 Rules for Life. Hope you found it useful and interesting. Maybe some of them resonated. And more importantly than that, think about what could you practically use in your life from this training. Maybe there's one rule that you'd like to start applying in your life. Maybe there's one thing you'd like to start improving in your life. Use that and maybe comment below, if you see this video, and share what is it that you're going to use from this training to start changing your life.